Hey everyone, so today I will discuss to you a literary analysis about the tale of the shipwrecked sailor. So these are the contents of the analysis for us to be guided. First, we have the background of the work, then author's background, reading of the poem, dramatic situation, mood of the poem, notable lines, denotation and connotation, symbolism, figures of speech, theme, and implication of the title. Now let's go to the background of the work. So, the Tale of the Shipwrecked Sailor is a text dated to the Middle Kingdom of Egypt, 2040 to 1782 before Christ era. It is a poem of adventure whose purpose, besides entertainment, would have been to impress upon an audience. Yes, the text is to impress the audience of how all one needed to be content in life, and it was found in Egypt. Next, the Shipwrecked Sailor is an unexpected Egyptian story that includes a cultural background as well as an overall interesting theme of unpredictability and humor. So, the poem is short, simple, and as well as it is very enjoyable because it describes um, the the shipwrecked sailor and his account of what he has been through during his voyage. Now let's go to the author's background. So the name of the author and even its point of origin are unknown according to scholar Miriam Lichtenstein. The only preserved papyrus copy of the tale was discovered by Glinchef in the Imperial Museum of St. Petersburg. Nothing is known about its original provenience. The papyrus called P. Leningrad 115 is now in Moscow. The work and the papyrus copy date from the Middle Kingdom, meaning this text, the tale of the shipwrecked sailor, is its author and even its origin are unknown. Now is the reading of the poem. The wise servant said, "Let thy heart be satisfied, O my lord, for that we have come back to the country. After we have been long on board and rowed much, the prow has at last touched land. All the people rejoice and embrace us one after another. Moreover, we have come back in good health and not a man is lacking. Although we have been to the ends of Wawat and gone through the land of Sinmut, we have returned in peace, and our land, behold, we have come back to it. Hear me, my lord, I have no other refuge. Wash thee and turn the water over thy fingers. Then go and tell the tale to the majesty." His lord replied, "Thy heart continues still its wandering words. But although the mouth of a man may save him, his words may also cover his face with confusion. Will you then, as your heart moves you? This that you will say, tale quietly." Suddenly I heard a noise of thunder, which I thought to be that of a wave of the sea. The trees shook and the earth was moved. I uncovered my face, and I saw that a serpent drew near. He was 30 cubits long, and his beard greater than 2 cubits. His body was as overlaid with gold, and his color as that of true lazuli. He coiled himself before me. Then he opened his mouth, while that I lay on my face before him, and he said to me, "What has brought you? What has brought you, little one? What has brought you? If you say not speedily what has brought you to this isle, I will make you know yourself. As a flame you shall vanish. If you tell me not something I have not heard, or which I knew not before you." The sailor then answered, "Now I shall tell that which has happened to me to my very self. I was going to the mines of Haro, and I went down on the sea in a ship of 150 cubits long and 40 cubits wide, with 150 sailors of the best of Egypt who had seen heaven and earth, and whose hearts were stronger than lions. They had said that the wind would not be contrary, or that there would be none. But as we approached the land, the wind arose and threw up waves 8 cubits high. As for me, I seized a piece of wood, but those who were in the vessel perished, without one remaining. A wave threw me on an island. After that, I had been 3 days alone without a companion beside my own heart. I laid me in a thicket, and the shadow covered me. Then stretched I my limbs to try to find something for my mouth. I found there figs and grain, melons of all kinds, fishes and birds. Nothing was lacking, and I satisfied myself, and left on the ground that which was over of what my arms had been filled withal. I dug a pit, I lighted a fire, and I made a burnt offering unto the gods. Then he took me in his mouth and carried me to his resting place, and laid me down without any hurt. I was whole and sound, and nothing was gone from me. Then he opened his mouth against me, while that I lay on my face before him. And he said, What has brought you? What has brought you, little one? What has brought you to the isle which is in the sea, and which of the shores are in the midst of the waves? Then I replied to him, and holding my arms low before him, I said to him, I was embarked for the mines by the order of the Majesty. In a ship, 150 cubits was its length, and the width of it 40 cubits. It had 150 sailors of the best of Egypt, who had seen heaven and earth, and the hearts of whom were stronger than lions. They said that the wind would not be contrary, or that there would be none. Each of them exceeded his companion in the prudence of his heart and the strength of his arm, and I was not beneath any of them. A storm came upon us while we were on the sea. Hardly could we reach to the shore, when the wind waxed yet greater, and the waves rose even 8 cubits. As for me, I seized a piece of wood, while those who were in the boat perished without one being left with me for 3 days. Behold me now before you, for I was brought to this isle by a wave of the sea. Then said he to me, fear not, little one, and make not your face sad. If you have come to me, it is God who has let you live. For it is he who has brought you to this isle of the blessed, where nothing is lacking, and which is filled with all good things. See now, you shall pass 1 month after another, until you shall be 4 months in this isle. Then a ship shall come from your land with sailors, and you shall live with them and go to your country, and you shall die in your town. Converse is pleasing, and he who tastes of it passes over his misery. I will therefore tell you of that which is in this isle. I am here with my brethren and my children around me. We are 75 servants' children and kindred, without naming a young girl who has brought unto me by chance, and whom the fire of heaven filled, and burned her to ashes. As for you, if you are strong, and if your heart waits patiently, you shall press your infants to your bosom, and embrace your wife. You shall return to your house, which is full of good things. You shall see your land, where you shall dwell in the midst of your kindred. Then I bowed in my obeisance, and I touched the ground before him. Behold now that which I have told you before. I shall tell of your presence unto Pharaoh. I shall make him to know of your greatness, and I will bring to you of the sacred oils and perfumes, and of incense of the temples with which of all gods are honored. I shall tell moreover of that which I do not see. And there shall be rendered to you praises before the fullness of all the land. I shall slay asses for you in sacrifice. I shall pluck for you the birds, and I shall bring for you ships full of kinds of the treasures of Egypt, as is comely to do unto a God, a friend of men, and a far country of which men know not. Then he smiled at my speech because of that which was in his heart, for he said to me, You are not rich in perfumes, for all that you have is but common incense. As for me, I am prince of the land of Punt, and I have perfumes. Only the isle which you say you would bring is not common in this isle. But when you shall depart from this place, you shall never more see this isle. It shall be changed into waves. And behold, when the ship drew near, according to all that he had told me before, I got up into an high tree to strive to see those who were within it. Then I came and told to him this matter. But it was already known unto him before. Then he said to me, Farewell, farewell. Go to your house, little one. See again your children, and let your name be good in your town. These are my wishes for you. Then I bowed myself before him, and held my arms low before him. And he gave me gifts of precious perfumes, of cassia, of sweet woods, of gall, of cypress, and abundance of incense, of ivory tusk, of bourbons, of apes, and all kinds of precious things. I embarked all in the ship which was come, and bowing myself, I prayed God for him. Then he said to me, Behold, you shall come to your country in 2 months. You shall press to your bosom your children, and you shall rest in your town. After this, I went down to the shore unto the ship, and I called to the sailors who were there. Then on the shore, I rendered adoration to the master of this isle, and to those who dwelt therein. When we shall come in our return to the house of Pharaoh in the 2nd month, according to all that the serpent has said, we shall approach unto the palace, and I shall go into before Pharaoh. I shall bring the gifts which I have brought from this isle into the country. Then he shall thank me before the fullness of the land. Grant me then unto me a follower, and lead me to the courtiers of the king. Cast your eye upon me after I have both seen and proved this. Hear my prayer, for it is good to listen to people. It was said unto me, Become a wise man, and you shall come to honor. And behold, I am become such. This is finished from its beginning unto its end, even as it was found in a writing. It is written by the scribe of cunning fingers, Amine Amina. May he live in life, wealth, and health. And that's the end of the reading of the poem. Now, let's go to the dramatic situation. So first, who is the speaker of the poem? So the speaker of the poem is the narrator, servant, or the sailor. To whom does the speaker speaking? So the speaker speaking to his fellow sailors, to the ancient Egyptians, and of course to the readers. Now, what is the situation? So, an official of the king returns home from a venture which did not go well. He has to report the bad news for the king and is obviously worried about what might happen to him at the meeting because of his completely failed business. And his servant, trying to cheer him up, tells him a story of something which once happened to him. The servant, who was once a sailor, tells of his own expedition, which was a complete failure, much worse than that which his master has experienced, but led to a great adventure. So the sailor tries to cheer his master in a way of telling his own story about his experience during his voyage. Now, the mood of the poem. So first is hopeless. Hopeless because for he felt after the encountered a huge wave, the reason why he is alone, because of the disaster that wash up him on the island. The next is humorous, for the sailor offered valuable things to the snake. Well, the snake just smiled at him because, as we all know, that the snake is the lord of the pond, meaning he owned the magical island where the all the valuable gifts offered by the sailors will be found in the magical island. Scary because for all of his co-sailors died except of him because of that incident. Now is this stanza interpretation. So, the tale begins with a follower announcing or stating his return from a voyage at sea. He is returning from an apparently failed expedition and is anxious about how the king will receive him. An attendant reassures him, advising him on how to behave before the king, and repeating the proverb, "The mouth of a man saves him." To encourage his master, he tells a tale of a previous voyage of his in which he overcame disaster, including meeting with the god and the king. The sailor then describes how his ship manned by 150 sailors sank in a storm, and how he alone survived and was washed up on an island. There he finds shelter and food. Then there was nothing that was not there. While making a burnt offering to the gods, he hears thunder and feels the earth shake and sees a giant serpent approach him. The serpent asked him 3 times who had brought him to the island. When the sailor cannot answer, the serpent takes him to where it lives and asks the question 3 times more. The sailor repeats his history, now saying that he was on a mission for the king. The serpent tells him not to fear, and God has let him live and brought him to the island, and that after 4 months on the island he will be rescued by sailors he knows and will return home. The serpent then relates a tragedy that had happened to him, saying that he had been on the island with 74 of his kin and plus a daughter, and that the star fell and they went up in flames through. In some translations, the daughter survives, in others, she perishes with the rest. The serpent advises the sailor to be brave and to control his heart, and if he does so, he will return to his family. The sailor now promises the serpent that he will tell the king of the serpent's power and will send the serpent many valuable gifts, including myrrh and other incense. Laughing at him, the serpent says that the sailor is not rich, but that he is lord of Punt, and that the island is rich in incense, and that when the sailor leaves, he will not see the island again, as it will become water. The ship arrives, and the serpent asks him to make him a good name in your town, and gives him many precious gifts, including spices, incense, elephants, tusks, greyhounds, and baboons. The sailor returns home and gives the king the gifts he took from the island, and the king makes him an attendant and gives him serfs. The tale ends with the master telling the narrator, do not make the excellent, my friend. Why give water to a goose at dawn before its slaughtering in the morning? So that's the tale of the shipwrecked sailor. So these are the noteworthy lines. First, is, does one give water to a ghost at dawn that will be slaughtered during the morning? So meaning to say, there is no point telling him things will be okay knowing that they won't be. That is the line of master. Second, happy is he who tells what he has tasted a painful thing having passed by. So sharing your experiences can bring some release from their pain. So that's what the sailor has been doing. She share his own expedition about what he has been through during his voyage. So he shares his experiences to the master. Then, as for you, if you are strong, and if your heart waits patiently, you shall press your infants to your bosom and embrace your wife. You shall return to your house, which is full of all good things. You shall see your land, where you shall dwell in the midst of your kindred. Meaning to embrace your children, kiss your wives, see your house, and be together with your companions. So that is the advice of the snake to the sailor when he is returning home. Now, let's proceed to the denotation and connotation. So these are the words. So first, the land of Punt. It denotates magical island, and it connotates it was Egypt trading partner, the origin of Egyptian culture and the land of the gods. The next, number 3. So it is a number, of course. Then its connotation is it is related to 3 major deities, or it is related to God. The Ammon of Thebes, Re of Heliopolis, and Ta of Memphis. That is number 3. The next, lions. Of course, it is an animal, and its connotation is, according to the poem, it is bravery of the sailors. Then last is the snake. Denotation, it is talking serpent, and it contains God. So that is for the denotation and connotation. Now let's move to the symbolism. So the Egyptians believe, there is a belief that after death there will be a paradise, which was a mirror image of the life they had known on earth, and it is called the field of reeds. That is the Egyptians' belief. The next, we have the land of Punt. So where the origin of Egyptian culture and the land of gods. That is the land of Punt. Next, number 3. So in ancient Egypt, the number 3 had multiple connotations, and one of them being related to the gods. So as what I have said earlier, it's all about the 3 major deities. It is Ammon of Thebes, Re of Heliopolis, and Ta of Memphis, form of one of the most important triads in Egyptians. Now let's go to the figures of speech. First, hyperbole. So whether they look at the sky or they look at the land, their hearts were braver than lions. Why it is called hyperbole? It is because for the sailor's heart is braver than lions. So it is used exaggerated statement that adds emphasis without intention of being literally true. The next is repetition. So at the beginning of the story, the narrator or the sailor tells the audience or to his master about the time he set off sailing before the shipwreck, and later on when he is at the magical island, then he uses the exact same words explaining about his experiences to the snake. Then a rhetorical question. So thus one give water to a ghost at dawn that will be slaughtered during the morning. So that is according to the master. There is no point of telling it would be okay if it won't if won't not that is a rhetorical question, because a master asking question without expecting an answer to the sailor. Then theme. So first, from the poem, love of family, then loss of family, return to Egypt, or it is love of the homeland, then resourcefulness of Egyptians. So loss of family, when they 150 sailors died in that shipwreck, so they lost their family. And one of the survivors is the sailor who is alone on that magical island, for he loved his family. That is why he finds solution for to return home. So that is Egyptians called resourceful, because even they encountered big problems, they find solutions. Then an individual becoming lost in a strange and threatening land and then returning home. So that is the sailor experiences. So he becoming lost in a strange and then reach at the frightening land, and then he is returning home because he listened to the advice of the snake or the serpent. Now let's go to the implication of the title. So the implication of the title of the poem is its significant note that the tale of the shipwrecked sailor takes place on the mythical island of riches and magic, to show the Egyptian belief that no earthly treasures compare to what they possess at home in Egypt, for they love their land too much to live. And that's all for the my literary analysis about the tale of the shipwrecked sailor. I hope you understand. Thank you and God bless.